In Tampa, the Bulls are definitely home at the Dome. We welcome you to the Sun Dome. They're the only Conference USA team unbeaten at home this year. Even Cincinnati can't make that claim as Marquette comes visiting from Milwaukee tonight. 16 wins, 4 games to go for Seth Greenberg's Bulls. He knows how important this one is tonight.
Well, it's a sign of progress for sure. You know, you play games in December and January to put yourself in position for postseason play in February and to play games that mean something in February. And at this stage of our program, we've done that. Now the key is we've got to take advantage of that opportunity. It's not a given. We're in position to get the postseason play. We're not there yet, but we're very close to being there. A win tonight could maybe put us over the top.
Well, Seth, in his 4th year here, he's got things on the rise. And, of course, Marquette, a veteran team under first-year coach Tom Crean. Brian Wardle, their big three-point guard. Namaka, a good athlete down low. And a good 1-2 punch. Altron Jackson starts tonight because Chauncey Asbury is hurt. And B.B. Walden averaging 18 a game. Bob Carpenter with Bob Wenzel. We are underway, and Marquette, Bob, immediately gets into their half-court game.
They are the Clydesdales, and they want to keep it a low-scoring game, as you can see in their graphic there. 27. South Florida wants to run the ball up and down the floor and be like racehorses. It's a contrasting style.
On the wing for Wardle. Then John Cliff, senior guard, back on top. Cordell Henry, a sophomore out of Whitney Young High School, Chicago. Played a little high school hoops with Quentin Richardson. Here's Cliff for Henry. Dribbles, passes. Right side, the three is well short from Aluma Namaka. Good here's the freshman point guard. Yeah, they had a good look. And they'll use 30 seconds almost every time. Reggie Cohn, outstanding as the freshman point guard of USF. B.B. Walden looking for Altron Jackson, and the ball deflected out of bounds by the Eagles of Marquette. So USF wants to get up and down the floor tonight, but these guys aren't going to let them.
No, they're not, and that's really the pull and tug of this situation. Tom Crean and Marquette, they want to get it half court, slow it down with their offense.
They want to get in some passing lanes. Tom Crean, 4 very good years as an assistant at Michigan State. And he's done a very good job of holding things together at Marquette. Marquette was 14 and 15 last year under Mike Dean. They're 13 and 10 now.
Marquette had 4 trips to the NCAA in the 90s, and now he's rebuilding it. And of course, Seth doing a very, very good job right here.
One of the outstanding defensive coaches in college basketball, Seth Greenberg.
They play aggressively. You're going to see changing defenses by the Bulls. Man-to-man, half-court traps, maybe some full-court stuff, even some 2-3 zone.
Well, Marquette's got to like this. It is scoreless a minute 20 in. Their last game, they only scored 17 points in the first half against DePaul, and Brian Wardle had every one of them. Shot clock to 10. The jumper from Henry hits the top of the glass and stays in. And the rebound for Scott Johnson, who did not play but 2 games because of a bad knee last year.
Good outside shooter for a big guy.
Yes, he is. Oh, look at that. How fine was that iron?
That's a good shot for a horse.
That thing checked up like a pitching wedge.
I've seen your pitching wedge. It's not yours. It doesn't check up.
Here's Henry. Cone on top watching him. And USF with a lucky bounce, or lack thereof, gets off to the 3-0 start. There's a high pick and roll by John Miller. Weaving Namaka. Dribble penetration. Henry, he pushes home the 3. Cordell Henry only shooting 25% beyond the arc.
But he plays good in big games. Had a terrific game against DePaul in their victory against the Blue Demons.
He had 9 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Altron Jackson gets the 3. He's shooting 42% from long range. And normally he doesn't start. He's the highest scoring 6th man in America, but he's a starter tonight because of Asbury's injury.
Not having Asbury is very important. He's a chemistry type guy, starts all the time, gives him lots of physical play and toughness, 6 or 7 points a game. So without him, a different rotation.
Yeah, he twisted his ankle in the Houston game last time out. Off the miss. Hustling down for the rebound, Reggie Cohn out of Winter Park, Florida. And again, the Bulls looking for the quick hit and a quick giveaway from the arms of Cedric Smith. Here's Henry and a reach in from behind by B.B. Walden.
Long jumper right here. When you have a center who shoots the ball from the outside like this, and obviously gets a nice roll, check him out. A little happy about that, Mr. Johnson. But when he plays out there, that allows Waldron to get inside, only at 6'8".
Well, you know why he gets those breaks. Last year, he wore number 13. He got hurt. This year, he switched to 31. He's getting the rolls now. Johnson on the rebound. Transition. Jackson taken right away from him by Cordell Henry.
Well, that's a nice defensive play to take away an easier basket.
And that's the one thing. The one thing Tom Crean was worried about today, transition defense.
South Florida gets the ball up the court quickly on makes or misses.
Miller for Namaka. He knocks it down from the corner. Aluma Namaka out of Uppsala, Sweden. That's only his 10th three-point make of the year in 25 attempts.
I'd like to hear you say Aluma Namaka 3 times fast.
Well, I just settle for occasionally when he knocks down the 3. Here's Smith. The turnaround. Cedric goes after his own shot. Then he kicks it out of bounds. And Ted Hillary says it's going back the other way. Outstanding 1-2 punch. And especially amazing, Bob Wenzel, in that Altron Jackson is normally the 6th man.
Not only that, they also shoot exactly 41% from three-point range, the both of them.
And they say they have great chemistry. They have a way of finding each other. How about some of the freshman combos or sophomore combos in this league? Those two guys, Quentin Richardson, and of course Bobby Simmons of DePaul.
First time the half-court 1-3-1 trap. Marquette prepared.
Yeah, they put Jackson out the top of that thing. There's the miss, and then the follow as John Harris, who's an outstanding rebounder, got it down after the miss by John Cliff.
Plays about 24 minutes a game, and that's his job right there. Crash the offensive boards. Marquette off to a good start on the road. Very important.
Oh, Walden, a great look for Jackson. And as he got the shot away, he was clipped from behind. It looked like Brian Wardle was getting there a little bit too late with the help defense.
This is the first possession of 1-3-1 half-court trap issued by Seth Greenberg. They're going to try to trap the ball, but good dribble penetration here by Marquette. And on the shot, nobody blocks out. And as a result, Harris is able to get inside and get a nice little play around the hoop. Little guy trying to block him out, no chance.
At the other end, Jackson, a 63% shooter, misses the free throw.
If there's one dent in the armor of South Florida, it is their free throw shooting. They were terrible last year, 59%. This year, a little bit better at 63. But as you can see, all for naught. 2 misses.
Namaka had the rebound, and he kind of walked right into the arms of B.B. Walden. On the possession call, it'll stay down at that end, but we do have our first media timeout. 5.5 in. Well, Marquette's got this one going the way they would like so far. Nearly 4.5 minutes in, and they lead 8-6. And Saturday, 1:30 Eastern on ESPN2, it's the Tar Heels against Terrence Morris and Maryland. Key ACC matchup late in the season. The game is subject to blackout in ACC markets. And for more on college basketball, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network.
Lon Dixon making his bid for first-team All-ACC. Absolutely doing it.
What a great year he has had. By the way, our buddy Larry Conley's supposed to be here tonight. Larry ailing at home, getting some rest in Atlanta. Larry's taking care of him very well. Coach, we're glad you're here to take Larry's place. Thanks for coming down.
Oh, I appreciate you inviting me, Bob.
That means Larry's only doing 6 games this week. Bringing the ball down the floor, Cordell Henry for Marquette.
Half-court trap again. Marquette knows it's coming. They've got to handle the ball wisely. This trap forces many people to handle the ball. So it takes the point guard's necessity out of the game a little bit.
Namaka, long with the 3. Rebound, Cedric Smith, who averages 7 a game. Yeah, they also put Altron Jackson at the top of that 1-3-1, and he gets a lot of his points in transitions after the ball is taken away. Look at BB. He looked like he didn't have a good grip on it. He still shot the turnaround sweetly.
He sure did. Long arms of Jackson at the front of the point here, too. Causes balls just like that to be deflected.
And Walden helping out on the half-court trap. Henry stepping right into Cedric Smith. John Flaherty says he was moving and he'll get the blocking foul.
One of the problems with being overly aggressive on defense, it leads to fouls. And, of course, teams that play aggressively usually do foul more. And occasionally you're going to get a play like that. You don't want it at the end of a shot clock.
Another 2-man trap out there. There's Cliff handling it. Henry switching it for Namaka. That's one of their inside players who's having to go to the perimeter repeatedly just to get his hands on the ball. Shot clock just now at 15. John Harris back on top. Henry, Namaka in the corner. Wardle. He did a nice job of creating his own shot. And Brian Wardle with a mid-ranger. And Bob, first basket.
That is why Namaka is playing out front, so Wardle can get the shots. You don't get shots in the front of a 1-3-1. Usually come along the baseline, and Wardle, of course, their best scorer.
Johnson on the turnaround, well short. Rebound Harris. Here comes Henry. Gets it back from Wardle. Yeah, when Marquette's got the ball, we'll put the shot clock in early for you. Wardle says, yeah, right, guys. I'm shooting right away. He's got the three. The 122nd of his career. The other end. The answer from Cedric Smith.
Boy, Cedric Smith is a warrior, isn't he? The best three-point shooter, also hustles like crazy. Physical guard.
That long three, too long. Look out, Ultron! There's the transition we talked about, and USF gets it back even 7 minutes in. Good crowd here tonight. A lot of students bouncing around. Wardle the entry. Namaka double-teamed. B.B. Walden slaps it off the offensive man's leg, and South Florida gets it back.
The 1-3-1 zone. You talked about how he gets out in front. He plays the front point of the zone, and as a result, he's the one that gets the leak out. Check the hands right here. Barely touches the ball. BB shooting BBs.
Yeah, that's what they mean when they say a guy falls out of bed and he can score. I mean, wakes up in the morning and he can put the ball right through the hoop, and that's what BB did.
Poise time for Marquette.
Yeah.
Little zone action for the first time.
Matchup look out front.
South Florida, the #1 three-point shooting team in Conference USA.
37%.
And of course, Marquette, the #1 team defensively against the three in Conference USA.
Yeah, their opponents only shoot 25%, 41 overall. Shot clock. Sanders kicking it to the right side, and as the shot clock winds down, B.B. Walden has another. He got a great feed on the wing from the former Rutgers player, Sam Sanders.
Sam started for me for 2 years, an electrifying guy off the bench. He told me he was going to play great tonight.
Won't go. Henry the miss. Clausen going up for the rebound. Stripped from him. On the floor. Cone bats it away. It's going to be a grab, it appears, on Namaka. Now check it. It's David Diggs who just checked in for Marquette.
Well, Seth Greenberg happy about the use of their 1-3-1, paying dividends early on.
8 minutes and 9 seconds in. Some penetrating here, but it's been mostly a battle of threes so far. Escaping with one there, Chris Fowler. Welcome back to Tampa, the Sun Dome, where the Bulls are undefeated this year. Let's talk a little RPI here. Conference USA 5th in the nation right now. Only one team in the top 25 in RPI, but then they're all bunched together. 7 in the top 57 out of this league.
They've got balance with those 7 teams, and of course, a lot of basketball to be played. Cincinnati, obviously, a lock. Louisville has a lot of good wins. DePaul also. After that, some questions about how many teams can and will get in. South Florida certainly among those in the conversation. Tulane as well.
Conference USA did hit number 4 in the RPI last week. Back at 5 now. And a league with an unbelievable non-conference record of 103 against 44. A winning percentage of 701. Good entry pass. Ultron Jackson. I guess he likes starting, too. He has 7 points already.
He does. I was wondering about what the chemistry would be with Chauncey out with that sprained ankle you mentioned, but so far, lots of aggressiveness.
Wardle rejected by Arthur Reeves. Reeves is their best athlete, very explosive. He's a run-and-jump guy, and you just saw why. National Division.
South Florida obviously at the top. If they win it, they will get a bye in the conference tournament, which is also important.
An extra day breather really makes a difference on that weekend.
No question. You don't want to win 4 games in 4 days.
Henry for Namaka. He will drive. He will foul. Never got there. B.B. Walden rejects him. Here comes Cone probing on the break. Sanders, and we've got a foul away from the ball. It appears to be on John Harris. It'll be his first as B.B. Walden went tumbling over the baseline.
Man, an aggressive play right here by B.B. He is everywhere on the floor right here. Let's take another look at it. A nice drive and a good way to avoid the foul, blocking it with your right hand rather than your left in that particular situation. And a good run out as well. That's what they want to do.
Just over 9 minutes in. Bulls by 4. They'll line up for the inbounds play down on the baseline. That's Baroni who just checked in. Cone for 3. Won't roll for him. And Harris the rebound.
Cone had 1,000 points and 1,000 assists in high school. Think he had the ball most of the time?
Most of the time at Lake Howell in Winter Park. And this one's going back the other way. And they say, the coaches do, he has played so well at a high level as a freshman. They are really amazed how he has stepped in. He has exceeded all of their expectations.
Absolutely. I think surprise would be the proper way to describe him. Spoke to David Zimroff before the game, the assistant coach. He knew he was solid, but at this level, he wasn't sure.
And Zimroff, the guy who knows about recruiting Florida kids, did a great job of that for Pat Kennedy while in Tallahassee. Here's Baroni, Tony's son, stepping through the double team.
The 1-3-1, Bob, has been very, very effective. Marquette not getting any shots in their rhythm.
Sanders
Lots of run outs.
Jackson, can he score? Off balance. Arthur Reeves is there. Everybody transitioning. And Tom Crean wants a timeout. Or did we have... Oh, we got an injured player down there. Altron Jackson, when tumbling over the baseline after taking that off-balance shot. They do not need another twisted ankle on this team.
Looks a little bit in pain.
Number 22, Brian Wardle.
That's their trainer, Kim Smith, and the head coach tending to him.
Check this out. Hustle play right here. Down the floor. This looks like a wide-open layup. He bobbles it. And, of course, right here, this is where he gets hit. Yeah, watch his foot. He's going to come down here. The hustle play will come from this angle. Watch him as he comes down.
Yeah, it looked like just as he left the floor, it turned on him a little bit.
Yep, his right angle right there. And the hustle afterwards enables them to stretch the lead a little bit. He's going to be all right.
Cedric Smith checking back in.
South Florida has athletic depth. Sanders was playing the wing. Now he's playing the point. Not quite as long, but still 6'4" long arms. Big time struggling. The Golden Eagles really having trouble with the quickness of the 1-3-1 zone.
Sanders for Cone. Now the next time Marquette gets the ball, which is right now, and there's the foul by Reggie Cone. It's been nearly 4 minutes since they've scored. The Bulls on an 11-0 run.
His first 13
Well, they got off to a good start against South Florida's man-to-man, and they were able to run their normal stuff. But the half-court trap has been devastating so far. Let's take a look at the turnovers. 5 for Marquette, 4 for South Florida, but it's more damaging to Marquette because each possession means more when you're a slow-down team.
Wardle on the baseline. They're not even close to getting it down there yet. Namaka trying to find his man. Harris deflected away. Sanders a touch. Namaka gets it back. Bodies bumping all over the place. And 10 seconds on the shot clock. Marquette needs to realize they didn't get a fresh 35 there. Wardle guns. Well short. Reeves. Wardle knocks it away. Flip. Back to Brian Wardle. Great look inside.
Brian Wardle.
Brian Wardle with 7 now.
That's where Marquette can get a little something against the 1-3-1 by crashing the boards. There's no blockout responsibilities.
Here's Reeves losing it on the way out. It was either Henry with a reach-in, and that's the signal by Larry Limbo.
Number 10, Cordell Henry, his first.
Cordell Henry with his first.
Competitive young individual. On quick, gets after it, but struggles offensively. The long arms of the Bulls contesting everything at the defensive end.
Arthur Reeves out of Lake Butler, Florida. Went to Fort Union for a while. His third point of the game. Altron Jackson will limp his way back in. Scott Johnson came in ahead of him. Marquette has checked in. John Miller, who started. And Sam Sanders will leave after some quality minutes. B.B. Walden gets a breather as well.
Jackson's a little gingerly checking his ankle out at half court. Once he starts running, he'll forget about it.
He's lulling us, Bob,
Especially at the offensive end.
As soon as he gets the ball on the break, he will go into high gear. I guarantee you. Seth wouldn't have sent him out there if he wasn't ready.
Marquette changing their strategy right now, putting guys in the right place to score.
John Cliff with a nice little jumper, his first basket. Senior out of Decatur, averaging 13 a game. Bulls by 4, running down to the 8.5-minute mark. Crowd here is quieted some after the early rush. Altron Jackson a little long with his jumper. Look at the hard work. Trying to keep that thing alive. Arthur Reeves taking on 2 Marquette players.
Checking in for Bulls number 3, Marlon Dawson.
Marlon Dawson will check in for the first time.
Check out Jackson right here. He's a limping here a little bit, a little concerned, and he knows he's going to get the ball now. Watch him speed up. We didn't change the speed on this. This is him, same guy.
Marlon Dawson, junior guard out of Memphis via Okaloosa Walton Junior College. On top for Jackson.
Producer Tim Belton played for Stanford. He acted that same way when I was recruiting him.
You recruited him, trying to get him to Duke, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, my. Oh, baby. Altron Jackson forcing the right-hander, and he's got 9.
Marquette has 2 guys in the high post right now. They're trying to get Cliff the ball where he can do something with it, but very little movement on the part of Tom Crean's guys.
That's going to be an offensive foul on Namaka.
That is a frustration play right there by Namaka. Tom a little perplexed, Seth a little happy.
We're down to the 7:50 mark remaining first half. Altron Jackson leading everybody with 9 so far as the Bulls forge a 6-point lead. 23-17 South Florida over Marquette. Bob Carpenter, Bob Wenzel from the Sun Dome in Tampa, where they are 11-0 this year. And a very important game for the home team especially. 7-5 in league play and trying to make it 17-9 on the year. Marquette could be fighting against Seth's team for its postseason life as well at 13-10. Last time Marquette went to the NCAA was 97. It's been 92 since the Bulls were there. They've gone twice in their history since this school opened in 1956.
Little water on the floor in front of the bench.
John Clockerty, lead official, helping out there. He can do it all, folks. National Hockey Night on ESPN, Friday at 8 Eastern. 2 clubs that figure to be factors in the playoffs. In the Gateway City, the Blues hosting Patrick Waugh and the Avalanche. A full national exclusive telecast. If you live in the Denver and St. Louis areas and you want to see the Avalanche and Blues, you can see that game only on ESPN. Jackson gets it back to Marlon Dawson, running the point right now.
He was really the guy who they thought was going to be the point guard early in the season. Junior college transfer, a little more experience than Cone, but he beat him out.
Well, Cone had no experience at that point, and he has really, as we said, surprised everybody. Henry for Cliff, and he drills it. John Cliff, his 148th career 3, 7th best on the all-time Marquette list.
He can get hot. Had 28 against Southern Mississippi. He can also get cold. He was 0 for 12 against DePaul.
27 minutes and could not score. Nobody could score in that game. 55-35. Blue Demons won it. There's not a coach in America who wouldn't love to hold Quentin Richardson and those guys to 55. Smith, tough shot. Won't go down for Cedric. Marquette running a little transition here. Cliff again. He's got the quick trigger going, but he throws an air ball. Here comes Altron Jackson against the smaller Henry. He's right by him. I think the ankle's fine. It only went 94 feet that time.
Watch the long arms right here. Look at that.
Cedric Smith to steal.
Length, not height, important in zone defense.
And the Bulls average 10 steals a game. That is best in Conference USA. Johnson way out there. 6'3", only senior on the club. He played 2 games last year. Marquette wants a timeout, but nobody saw it. Wardle trying to get one from the official on this side, and now they throw it away.
He better take it now.
Tom Green will take his timeout. 5:47 to go. It'll become a full timeout since it's the first one by either coach, and Altron is doing it all. 11 points, and the Bulls by 8.
We are back. The Bulls lead by 8. And why? Marquette does not like to push the ball up the floor, but they have to. And when they do, they don't have to play against a very tough 1-3-1 zone. Cliff knocking one in. But this is what it's been like most of the time. Long arms, trapped by 6'8" guys. Something's open, but now it's not. And that's what's been happening to Marquette most of the first half.
And, of course, that's one of the reasons that South Florida has the great steals average. And you got the big guy, Scott Johnson, knocking down a pair of threes.
The best three-point shooter in the league. Best three-point team in the league.
Last year, his first game, he gets 19 against Texas. Then, in the following game against Central Michigan, he tears his ACL and he's out for the year.
Oh, baby! Out of a timeout! The 6'11" guy playing at the top of the key. Why is it open underneath? There's no center. He's playing 30 feet away from the basket. After a timeout, excellent coaching. Seth knew that Marquette would be pressuring. Answers with a backdoor. Clear the post area out. An explosive.
John Cliff with his first foul on that play. Jackson has 13 to lead everybody. And the clock runs inside 5:25 first half.
Look at the difficulty of passing the ball.
There's Baroni out there to move the ball around. Namaka, that's a charge as Cedric Smith steps in front of him.
Number 34, John Harris. His second.
Moments ago, we got a little dance going on. That ankle is not bothering him anymore. The back door, effective. Love to see that enthusiasm.
Altron Jackson, a Sarasota kid out of Riverview High School. He's had 13 20-point games this year. Remember, he's usually the 6th man.
Well, I think the reason that he's usually the 6th man is Asbury's been here so long, and Seth wants to reward him as a starter. Jackson obviously is in at the end of most games.
Right side, down it goes. A 3 for Cedric Smith. He has 6, and the Bulls are warming things up here at home, leading by 13.
Boy, are they comfortable. Marquette struggling to make any kind of pass. The Bulls in the passing lanes. Look at that 1-3-1 setup, folks. They play it as well as anybody I've seen this year.
Down it goes. Tough shot.
Very tough shot.
John Cliff. Cliff has 7. South Florida really gunning the threes. They're 5 out of 6 from beyond the arc right now. Stone fighting off Baroni.
Look at Johnson way at the top of the key. When he's out there, Walden Jackson can operate inside.
And they're so good at finding each other. BB on the receiving end of that one. Jackson and Walden combining for 19 points already. 35-23 USF. Wardle to the wing. Baroni for Cliff. We're going to close on him out there. Namaka, good baseline move. Then he throws it away. Good help defense by the Bulls, forcing the stop and then the turnover. Tom Green's Eagles in a bit of trouble here on the road. 3:54 before halftime, and it's 35-23 South Florida. Altron Jackson leads the way with 13. BB also has a half dozen. Well, sometimes coaches have to be dads. Seth has that show going called My 10 Sons. But he has 3 daughters at home, and his little sweetie, Jacqueline, turning 5 years old today. She's the little one right in the middle, celebrating a birthday with Dad today.
Well, it's kind of a little story to this because the day before she was born, we played a very big basketball game when I was at Long Beach State against Cal State Fullerton. Then the next day, she was born, and then we played the following day against UC Irvine. So she is a perfect coach's daughter because she came in between games.
There's Karen. Got some pretty girls there.
A smile on a coach's wife's face.
Yeah,
a rare sight.
They favor their mother. That's why they're so
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. South Florida shooting 61% from the field so far by virtue of fast breaks, and Walden and Jackson getting inside.
Reggie Cohn handles it for the Bulls. On top by 13 here. 3:40 before halftime. Jackson switches over the top. Rick Smith, a baseline runner. Here comes Baroni. Oh, it's so difficult to get the ball up the floor right now.
Baroni is so small, he has a hard time passing over the 2'6" pack.
Wardle stripped on the way up, but Johnson or Walden reached in to get him. And a lot of players, it was good poise by Brian Baroni. A lot of players would have called timeout. He stayed with it and managed to get the offense going. B.B. Walden with his second.
Check this out. Look at the long arms right here. It's very, very difficult, and they don't foul right there, which is also very smart. But here's not such a smart one.
But that was a coach's son. A lot of guys would have lost their poise and called the timeout. Brian Baroni kept it going. 7 points for Wardle. Give him 8 now.
His dad, Tony, of course, former coach of Creighton and Texas A&M. And Tony, of course, played at Duke and was an assistant coach there many years ago.
Brian Wardle, a Hinsdale, Illinois kid. Conference USA all-freshman team a couple of years ago, but he was the 6th man of the year in the league. He's got 9 now. The great thing about Brian is he has really elevated his field goal percentage this year. Career 37%. Into this season, he's now shooting 46.
He has become the main guy in terms of the offense and where it goes on the first look. It's one thing to be a complimentary player. It's another thing to take the responsibility of the offense on your shoulders.
Oh, wow. Rough-looking three. Here comes Baroni. They're looking for Wardle. Long three. Right on target. Brian Wardle with a dozen. His second three tonight. He had a 31-point game against Charlotte this year when he hit 5 threes in a row.
Well, that's one way to get back in the game. Go to your best guy. In transition, they've had good luck with shooting threes in transition.
Especially when he has unlimited range. Saturday on ESPN, another great college basketball, well, triple dip. Atlantic 10, UMass and Temple. The Owls coming off the big win over Cincinnati. That's at 2 Eastern. And then the Irish and Miami at 7 Eastern in the Big East. And the Tigers and the Sooners at 9 o'clock in the Big 12.
Notre Dame beat Connecticut twice this year, beat Ohio State on a buzzer shot. David Graves beat Seton Hall on a buzzer shot. Twice this season he's beaten highly ranked teams with late season heroics. Miami also, I think, going to the NCAA tournament.
You have seen a lot of the Big East this year, Coach. What about UConn? What about Syracuse when March arrives?
Well, certainly Syracuse is playing better now. They went through a slump where they lost 1 or 2 games. It's funny, when a team's 19-0, they lose 1 or 2 games, you think,
yeah, they're done.
Things are bad, yeah, right.
On top, Baroni thought about the three, shoots the mid-range jumper. Brian Baroni's done a nice job of running the Marquette offense here.
They are sneaking back into this game by virtue of a little three, pushing the ball up, and not having to play against the 1-3-1 so much. Push it, push it.
And you know South Florida is going to take quick shots at the other end. Sometimes they will give you the chance to get back in it if you make a few.
That's right. South Florida is more of a team that goes and runs.
Namaka for Baroni. Where's Wardle? Top of your screen. High post. Digs for Clausen. Good entry pass. Bad shot. I mean, he was about 15 feet away and never got iron with it. Down to 1:50 before halftime.
See Johnson out high. When he plays out high like that, going down low for a minute, thinks he's got an advantage on an inexperienced guy inside, but this is not particularly his game.
Fall away. Johnson short. Clausen with the rebound and the outlet for Baroni. Straight ahead to Wardle. He will penetrate. Trying to finish. Can't. Kept alive. Namaka. Smith knocks it away. Johnson sitting. Had the ball find him. And it's fumbled over the sideline by Altron Jackson.
You think these guys want to win this game? Check this out. Marquette must struggle to enter their offense. They're 6 feet behind the three-point line and really struggling, trying to throw it over the long arms of the law here. Look at Baroni stepping through right here. They finally get a nice little angle in here, but Brick City, and that's what happens when you don't get a lot of touches.
Brian Wardle will throw it in. They've got 35 on the shot clock here after South Florida had possession. So they don't need a quick hit here. They get a basket. They're back to within a half dozen. A three gets them back to within 5.
Lots of almosts right now. The ball being tipped. No turnovers yet, but there's one.
Basketball.
Deflections all over the place right now. Chris Fowler's in the studio with Nancy Lieberman-Klein for our Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. Little payback for Temple. We'll see. Wolfpack desperate for a win. You saw that highlight earlier. And the Boilers held on for one. A tough one in Ann Arbor tonight.
Down to the wire. Typically, at this time of year, that's going to happen. Big-time turnovers for Marquette right here. They've only averaged 9 turnovers in the last 4 games.
Frederick Smith for Altron Jackson. That was on a tray by a room service. Here's John Cliff switching it. Wardle open. You won't see him miss one that open too often. I tell you, Altron Jackson did a good job of running at him without getting the foul. Henry stops it from Cohen. Can he finish? He turns Johnson around, and Johnson reaching around his own back to commit the foul. You get a little indication of the speed of Cordell Henry, the 5'9" sophomore out of Whitney Young in Chicago.
His first 15 foul.
Johnson not a shot blocker. Check this passing right here. Off the dribble.
Henry provides for Marquette 2 shots.
The basket is clear. Princeton-ish, but faster.
That ball was gone before anybody even reacted to it.
He threw that pass off the dribble. Did not have to gather it and catch it with 2 hands. The value of having long arms and long fingers. A nice judgment.
4 points on the night. He's run the point pretty well for Tom Crean lately. Only 19 turnovers his last 13 ball games. He now has 5 points and 3 assists on the night. 39-31. Marquette, after taking a bit of a hit, being a dozen or more down, now back to within 8.
Cordell made a 3 against Xavier when Marquette beat Xavier, which is a team that plays up-tempo like South Florida. He made a 3 to tie the game and a 2 to put them ahead. And when the going gets tough, he's there.
Final 15 seconds. 10 on the shot clock now. About a 2.5-second differential. Cone probing. Turnover almost. Harris deflected that, and had Arthur Reeves let the ball go out of bounds, the Bulls would still have it.
Inexperienced play right there. He should have let it go out. South Florida would have maintained possession. Now Marquette has the ball here and to start the second half as well.
He could have called a timeout because Seth has not used his 30-second timeout in the first half.
And of course, when you don't use it, you lose it.
Only 5 seconds. Henry for Wardle. One dribble. Leans. Shoots. Oh, it just wouldn't go for him at the buzzer. Wardle has a dozen, but the story of the first half, Altron Jackson. 7 of 11 shooting, and the guy, Chris Fowler, who's usually the sub, comes out roaring in the first half tonight. Hanging around, but the big difference in this game so far, Coach, that defense, they forced a dozen or so turnovers, 7 steals, couple of block shots, and how many deflections? Too many to count.
Exactly, and that is why they are ahead. Terrific defense. Let's take a look at it right here. Closing the seams on the defense. Freeze it right here. Now this guy right here, he can't penetrate. Go ahead and go. He can't penetrate because he's got 2 6'8" guys on him. Let's take a look at the back. Stop it. Right here is the point guard. Right here, 6'8", 6'8", 6'11", and he's shooting back in there. Watch as they continue how difficult it is for them to get the ball anywhere. Long arms lead to deflections. Long arms lead to steals. And this is what South Florida, the dilemma that they've caused. What about at the other end? After all of these situations, look at all of the South Florida players higher. The basket area is clear, which allows for backdoor plays like that. There were 4 of them in the first half. 3-point shooting, backdoors, 12 steals, and that's why they are ahead.
5 out of 7 they are from 3-point range, and the Bulls overall shooting 15 of 28. The dozen turnovers by Marquette. But as we mentioned earlier, the deflections in the passing lanes too numerous to count. And the Golden Eagles have some things to deal with now in the final 20 minutes. And they have taken care of the ball very well. They were beaten by 20 in that game against DePaul, only giving it up 7 times. They simply could not hit a shot.
Right. So they have, Tom Crean has lots of dilemmas right now with his team. And in this particular game, they have not handled the ball well. South Florida has used that zone effectively. It'll see if Tom comes out and gets a little bit more aggressive offensively by pushing the ball down the floor. No change for South Florida.
Cordell Henry will run the point from Marquette, starting things off here. That's on Jackson. B.B. Walden out of the top of that thing. They try to screen and handle it. This time they bring Brian Wardle out a little bit on the wing. Here's Cliff, who has that unlimited range. Almost came back down with it. A scrum in the middle. Namaka not strong enough to get through it as the Bulls were all over it. Smith the entry, and both players broke the other way. Jackson and the Marquette defender, Cordell Henry.
Walden and Jackson. 15 points for Jackson. He loves that. Not too many rebounds for those two guys. Ofer on the boards.
Actually, in the first half, 18 to 13 rebounding edge for Marquette. Here's Wardle, a little bit short. And the rebound on the back door, Cedric Smith. Quick transition. Beebe, a 360. He was blocked by Miller. Here comes Henry. Finally forced out to the perimeter by Cedric Smith.
Bob, they need to get dribble penetration, and it's got to be from Henry. They don't have other players who can really do it very well. They're getting no penetration with the pass. Everything is on the perimeter. You're not going to win the game by jacking some threes.
There's Wardle with the skip pass for Cliff. He's long with it. Henry's got it. He runs, can't hit it. Miller trying to keep it in. And it'll stay with the Eagles after being last touched by Scott Johnson of South Florida.
Seth has numerous defenses that he uses, and during the course of a game, he'll just use what's going best.
He is so astute defensively. And I asked David Zimmeroff yesterday, what makes your head coach so good? In a minute, the answer, there's Ultron with another transition basket. 17 for the sophomore from Sarasota.
I think the Bulls' only problem is they're all going to want to play the point guard position in this.
Henry, that's a travel. Came to a stop and shuffled his feet.
Take a look at the top of the key right here. He's able to run out on here. Nobody back at all. Nobody covering the hole. We've seen that about 5 times. Whose responsibility is it? The point guard.
And in a very cerebral bit of analysis, David Zimmeroff says Seth has an innate understanding of how to take opponents out of what they do best. And that's something that a coach does to constantly make adjustments from one game to another. There's Coach Z. I'll tell you, there's a guy who can recruit Florida. He and Tom Carlson were hired by Pat Kennedy in Tallahassee out of the high school ranks. You know what they did? They signed Doug Edwards out of Miami, Rodney Dobart out of Delray Beach, James Collins, Ron Hale. Some of the great players in Florida went to Tallahassee. Look at that rejection by Cliff. B.B. Walden is there. And that's why you always need a trailer on the break.
I think B.B. would rather play the point so he gets some of those runouts.
Here's Henry Long with a 3. He's got to run back. Here comes Smith. Bouncer. B.B. again. And Marquette needs a timeout.
30-second timeout, Marquette.
Walden and Jackson running out. BB wants to get involved here. Nice block by Cliff, who's a smaller player. But all of the South Florida guys can run out, and they stay after it. Check this out. Cedric Smith, who's a very, very nice passer. Nobody home. Good night.
Yeah, that's what they had, the 3-on-2 break, and the third man was the trailer.
Well, everything
has a 14-point lead now.
Everything is breakout right now for them, Bob. Nothing has changed from the first half. The zone stays effective. The long arms of Walden and Jackson causing turnovers and easy run-out baskets. The speed, the Greyhounds are running.
Well, BB has 10 tonight.
Sam Sanders at the point now. Little rest for BB. Look at how quickly they move in this defense. Man, do they cover lots of territory.
On the wing, Cliff checking the 3. Rims out on it. Clausen kept it alive, only for a moment. Cedric Smith the rebound. Biggest lead for the Bulls now. Look at that rifle pass. And BB is fouled as he hangs on the rim. Cedric Smith to BB Walden.
Statement time. Smiles everywhere in Tampa. Exciting team to watch. No look pass.
First in the second half for Marquette.
And of course, holds on to the rim to save himself from being falling to the ground. His partner on the bench.
Ultron says, yeah, I'm not the only one who gets those easy baskets. Now they've combined for 30 if BB makes this free throw. 47-31. Marquette's biggest fear has come true, and that's a USF run out of halftime.
Marquette's ability to handle the ball and get a good shot at the end of their offense has not materialized at all, and that's something that they rely upon to stay in games with more athletic teams. They've not been able to do it so far tonight.
Wardle receiving the pass and getting fouled. That'll be BB Walden's third.
First in the second half for the Bulls.
First team foul in 3 minutes and 10 seconds out of halftime for the University of South Florida. A sizable school of 37,000 here in the north part of the city. Beautiful campus. Weather's not bad. That's for sure. Didn't look like a February day in college basketball to me out there today.
Lots of pro sports in this town now. It didn't used to be that way.
Wardle with the three. Ryan Wardle with 15 on the day. And he continues to be the driving force of the Marquette offense. Sanders well short, took a little contact, and it'll go to the Eagles. Tom Crean, Central Michigan guy, class of '89, up there in the Mid-American Conference.
Coached at Western Kentucky, also at Pitt, and of course Michigan State twice.
Yeah, first time with Judd back in '90. Here's Baroni taking it to the wing. Cliff penetrating. Look at the arc on that thing. He must have been expecting a block. Wardle picks up the ball and was swatted out to the perimeter. Who else is going to step up for Marquette here? Namaka stripped by BB Walden. He's the candidate. Aluma averaging 9 points a game. He only had one against DePaul the other day. Well, that segment belongs to BB, and the Eagles now down to sets.
We are back in Tampa, and watch the unison of movement of the white jerseys. This is real speed, folks. Now you know what Marquette's going through. Lots of guys everywhere, hands and feet flying all over the place, and this is calculated. This is not racehorse basketball, but excellent defense by Seth Greenberg's group.
You know, that replay reminds me, Bob, of what your coach tells you. First time you play your first game, he says, kids, it's a little quicker out there than it is in practice, and that certainly looked like it for Seth's defense.
And that's why they lead the conference in steals at 10 a game. And, of course, very effective. 3 more steals after halftime already, 3 more turnovers already for the Golden.
So they're averaging 10 steals a game, 1 more, and they're at that average for the night. Wardle will throw it in for Marquette, flashing on top, Baroni to receive it. Sanders all over him.
Guys hustling like crazy all over the place. Scott Johnson's not in the game right now. Reeves plays the middle. See if he plays it as well.
Baroni for Cliff. Cedric Smith, another steal. For a moment anyway.
Great hustle.
Cedric Smith, 6 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and nearly his second steal right there. Hey, folks, 10 days away. It's championship week. 62 games on ESPN and ESPN2, March 4th to March 12th. 31 conference championship games and wall-to-wall coverage of the ACC at Big East and Big Ten tournaments. It all starts Saturday at noon, March 4th. For more on championship week, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com.
Who do you think of the 4 top seeds, Bob? Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Duke. And who else?
That would be 3 of the 4 right there. There's a left-handed lay-in. B.B. Walden with 15 on the night. Arizona without Lauren Woods. Can they be a #1 seed somewhere? We'll have to see.
Yeah, LSU beat them by 26.
The Computer doesn't like that kind of stuff. Michigan State, 5th in the nation.
I think Tennessee or Florida have a real good chance from the SEC. Very strong conference. Both of those in the eastern half.
SEC number 1 in conference RPI this week. Big 10, Big 12, Pac-10, and this Conference USA to follow.
How about Temple as a possibility? With Sanchez, they've only lost 1 game all year. And, of course, having beaten Cincinnati most recently, tough team to play against. Ooh, that matchup zone. It's like going to the dentist.
B.B. Walden with his 4th foul.
Scott Johnson returns to the middle of this. The good thing about having a 6'11" guy in the middle, any dribble penetration, he comes to it.
Well, he gets there a little bit late on Wardle, who missed the shot. Sanders a touch. Cedric Smith trying to help out. John Cliff up there. It's going to be on John Cliff of Marquette. That will be his 2nd.
If there's one thing you can say about South Florida this evening, if you didn't ever see them play, they hustle. Man, do they cover territory in their defense.
Well, this year they've been able to do a little bit of both. They played up-tempo. They were able to do that against UCLA and Tennessee. They've been able to grind it out against Florida State and Wisconsin. Team's got some pretty good non-conference wins. Sanders for Johnson, the handoff to Cone. We have not seen Reggie score tonight. He had 4 turnovers in the first half, but he managed 3 assists and a rebound. Tapped away there by John Cliff.
You know, you mentioned South Florida and how good they've played. They do have to prove themselves on the road a little bit. You know, they've only won 1 conference game away from home, and that was Houston, the last place team. They've lost to Memphis, UAB, Tulane, Cincinnati, and DePaul, all on the road, and of course, undefeated at home.
11-0 in this building. Seth Greenberg calling his first timeout, which is the same as his 2nd, since he didn't use his in the first half. A 49-37 lead with 14-14 remaining here at the Sun Dome in Tampa. This is the National Division, and in all honesty, the balance of power is in the American with Cincinnati and Louisville and that bunch, DePaul. Tulane a half game back. There's the American Division. You know, if Marquette's in the other division, they're right in the thick of the race for that first-round bye in the postseason tournament in Chicago.
And, of course, if you're in Cincinnati's half, you got to play Cincinnati twice. So being in the other half is a plus.
Yeah. Sanders the miss. Here come the Eagles in transition. Diggs stopping at the 3-point line. Seems like you're always picking up your dribble against these guys. Now Nalika back on top to Baroni.
The thing with this 1-3-1 also is it makes 5 guys handle the ball almost on every possession.
Stepping through the double team, Namaka. Diggs, 10 on the shot clock. Wardle back on the perimeter for Diggs, and it won't go. Underneath, strong rebound. John Harris only his 2nd basket. But that's how he scores. He's had 4 double-figure rebounding games this year.
Well, they should leave him in because that's the only way they're scoring right now. Yeah. They might as well throw it up on the board early and crash.
Underneath, Harris scrumming down there with Arthur Reeves. And for John Harris, it'll be his 3rd. We're at the Sun Dome in Tampa. Conference USA on a Thursday night in late February. Bob Wenzel sitting in for Larry Conley, who is ailing. We hope Larry will be better tomorrow after a long night's rest. And it's the Bulls of South Florida by 10 here. 13:26 remaining.
Marquette hanging around.
Left-hander won't go. And the foul. Altron Jackson with 19 on that make.
Can you say athleticism?
A lot of syllables, but it certainly describes him. Now trying to force it that time. The freshman Reggie Cone with his 5th turnover. Here's Baroni on the wing for Diggs. 7 minutes out of halftime. 12-point lead for the Bulls. Diggs for Wardle. They're really closing on him until somebody else can prove they can hit a perimeter shot. Here's Baroni probing. Now he's got Wardle open. Down it goes. Ryan Wardle with 21 tonight.
Maybe a little fatigue right now by South Florida. And you know what? The ball's moving a little bit more crisply for Marquette.
On the Bulls, I'd just put somebody out there and stay with him. Why cover some of the other perimeter guys until they hit a shot?
Well, probably because they think they're going to get some turnovers. But you can see they're not hopping right now. See how the arms are not as wide as they were in the first half right here?
Yeah. Here's Wardle, dribble penetrating. Oh, he's got the sweet roll. Brian Wardle going off here. He's got 23.
Timeout, South Florida.
And Seth uses another timeout in quick succession.
A spurty team goes through spurts that are on the positive side and the negative side. Check this out underneath right here. A little tip play right here. Coming from out of bounds. Whose is it? It's mine, says Jackson. He wants everybody to know he was the guy who tipped it in.
Brian Wardle shooting tonight, 5 out of 9 from three-point range. The thing you love about this kid, he just keeps coming right at you. And he was a big-time scorer in high school back in Hinsdale, Illinois at Central High School. 1,632 points, almost 700 rebounds. He was an honorable mention All-American. And Bob, you know as well as any coach, past or present, the fine art of shooting is not what it was 10 years ago at this level.
Well, the other thing that Tom Crean talks about him is he is a guy who makes himself a better player through hard work and determination and individual skill sessions. As you mentioned, his percentages have risen quite dramatically since last year, an effect of his hard work ethic.
Now in Marquette, 13-4 run over the last 4 minutes. How will the Bulls answer?
I think they will change to man-to-man defense.
And standing around offensively in the half court, not really their forte. Shot clock at 7. Johnson thought about the three, forcing his way in, shoveling. Ultron Jackson missing, and the loose ball comes off. Cordell Henry. Folks, we might have a ball game here in a second, thanks to Brian Wardle. Let's see if somebody else can hit one for Marquette. Trap in the corner. Diggs thought about it. Henry back to him, and Jackson gets the deflection.
The question for South Florida is, if you're not getting all those turnovers and runouts, what's your next answer? And Marquette playing well enough to make them think about that.
Shot clock at 10. Flip from Henry and back to the wing. No deflection, just a bad pass. And a turnover by Marquette when they really could have used a basket. A good defensive stop for Seth. His team on top by 7. Conference USA basketball here in late February in Tampa, Florida. Brian Wardle going crazy with the ball. 23 now. He's had 11 of those already since halftime. And if Tom Crean's Eagles are to get back in this one, they will have to have more from him and a whole lot more from his supporting cast.
Well, he has been on fire for Tom in the second half. They're discussing all the shots that he's going to get. He wants to get back in the game. He doesn't want to be sitting out there too long. 55%.
Three-point range, his shooting. He came in from beyond the arc at 44 on the year. One of the top 8 all-time three-point scorers at Marquette. He still has another year to go. A 6'5", 212-pound junior.
South Florida has been stalling out in their half-court offense, not getting as many easy runouts. The three-point shooting and the runouts fueled their attack. This has not been what they've been good at in this game so far today.
Cone on the catch. Henry's done a good job on him defensively. Oh, baby. Arthur Reeves rattling one home, and a half dozen for the junior out of Lake Butler, Florida. 53-44 Bulls, 10.5 to go. There's the skip pass, Cliff, the entry. Namaka turning, banking. Well, he never did use the glass. Oh, and crossing. Had what appeared to be a makeable foul. Namaka stays with it and knocks it down. What's this? An inside basket. Is that John Harris down there? Yeah, the great rebounder, John Harris. And Johnson on the way up, hacked. Well, finally, the Eagles got something down low last time.
Well, that's what they need. They need second and third efforts on the offensive boards. We talked earlier about just throw it up there and go after it. Help side right here, and nobody helps the helper.
Scott Johnson at the line for the Bulls.
And people stay on it. This is great hustle right here. And a difficult shot. You know, where you see a guy's heart is on defense and on the offensive boards. And Harris showing it right here.
Johnson the miss. Normally a very good 84% free throw shooter.
Number 22, Brian Wardle.
Well, Harris is gone. Clausen and Diggs leave, and they bring Namaka back in with Wardle and Greg Clausen.
Harris is a demon on the offensive boards, and they need him. They're explaining something to him on the sideline. I'm sure he'll be back soon. He's also only a 23% free throw shooter, so if he gets it inside, I'm fouling him every time.
You got that right. You're a guy in America who doesn't want to shoot against Shaq, huh, from the line?
Shaq's doing better.
Here's Wardle, penetrating. Did he come back down before he passed it? No, there was a foul down there. Looked like a slap on Altron Jackson. That'll be his first.
Classic coaching pose right there. Contemplating the next possession. When you are a spurt team from like South Florida, you're going to have great runs like they had early, but you're also going to have some droughts.
Wardle skips it out of danger for Cliff. Bulls chasing everywhere. Cliff thought about the three. Closed on quickly by Reeves. Henry. Plenty of time on the shot clock at 17, and Henry let it go under pressure. Not sure that's the shot they were looking for.
This is what South Florida wants.
Altron Jackson can't roll it in, and then Reeves almost bumped it over the iron. Here comes Henry. It's only an 8-point game here. Wardle again with a three. Brian Wardle has 26, heading for his season high when he had 31 against Charlotte.
Great stick-to-itiveness by the Golden Eagles. Tom Crean's guys battling and staying with things when it looked dim. And, of course, encouraging from the sideline is the first-year coach. He knocks this in, and let's see the coach and player reaction. There you go. Tom likes that.
Won't go for the right side for Cedric Smith. Tumbling into the table right in front of us on a hustle play. Cedric Smith.
Cedric Smith had 17 rebounds for Seth this year against UNC Charlotte. Pretty amazing for a 6'4" guy.
He had 10 at Cincinnati. He's been rebounding against some of the better guys. Keep in mind, Brian Wardle 6 out of 10 from three-point range as they get this possession going.
They've changed to man out of the 1-3-1. They got to play him tightly.
Wardle double him. Looked like he had an opening for his man Henry. Here's Cliff all the way to the glass. Great drive and a great slash by John Cliff, and he's got 9.
And see how quickly the ball moved there, because it wasn't against the zone. It was man-to-man. They play better against man-to-man.
They were down by 16 when B.B. Walden had one of those slams, and now it's to 3. Jackson stripped on the way up, and it'll stay with the Bulls with 8:06. That's an eternity remaining now for the home team after leading most of the way.
Wardle doing a good job defensively there, saving a dunk.
Marquette, number 34, John Harris.
John Harris back. Top of your screen, number 34, who just re-entered. He's down there with Namaka, so they're fairly athletic. Down low right now are the Eagles. Not as big, but their most athletic duo. Smith to Johnson. Quick turnaround. Beautiful rotation. And Scott Johnson, who's averaging 9, has 11 tonight.
So let's see if Marquette is able to run their normal stuff. They're getting the 4-down play right here, the visual signal for their play. Patience is a virtue.
It's a way of life at Marquette. And 10 on the shot clock now. Wardle looking for a pick. Steps in between the double team. Loses it. And a foul on South Florida with 2 seconds on the shot clock. And Arthur Reeves will claim, hey, man, I was going for the ball.
Arthur Reeves almost got a technical foul on that one.
A very unlucky, ill-timed foul by Seth Greenberg's Bulls. 7:28 remaining in the game. We saw Marquette make an unbelievable comeback at home last month against Cincinnati after trailing by a bunch. Tonight they were down by 16. They're back to within 5, and they are right back in this ballgame. 56-51. Things getting a little tense, a little quieter here in Tampa. Bob Carpenter with Bob Wetzel, and we talked earlier tonight about how critical this game is for the home team with those 16 wins and 4 to go.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it looked like a blowout for a while, but Marquette's stick-to-itiveness has gotten them back in the game, and Wardle's outside shooting. Seth Greenberg not happy about the comeback right now, and he's got to find something defensively to do. The 1-3-1 was very, very effective, but not so effective with the fatigue. The man-to-man has not been effective in the last 2 possessions either. Marquette feeling comfortable.
And there are certain guys who play who seemingly will their team back into ball games. Brian Wardle is one of those guys. He refuses to quit. He's down low on this possession. There's the dump down. Namaka stripped, got it back. Wardle squared for a moment. Henry for Cliff. Shot clock at 13. Namaka back to Cliff. Baseline jumper. It was up there forever, and it fell right down through for John Cliff. He has 11, and it's a 3-point game again.
At this end, 5-on-5 has not been efficient for the Bulls.
Well, Marquette's making shots, and it's taken USF out of some of that running game. Now they try to force the pass, all in a giveaway, but Marquette comes up with it in the backcourt. Now they could make it a 1-point game or tie it with a 3. 6.5 minutes remaining.
Marquette will run lots and sets. Little triangle set here, wide open jumper.
Cliff the catch and shoot, and Johnson took a bump. No call, but he had the clean defensive rebound.
They get him back very, very well. Tom Crean told us that he was very concerned about his team getting back defensively so he could go 5-on-5 from the 3-point line and in, and they're doing it right now.
John Harris gets his 4th foul with 6:12 remaining. So it looks like Greg Clausen will come in and relieve him.
Checking in for Marquette.
Greg is going to screen people and battle and try to get somebody open. The half-court offense will revolve certainly around Wardle as we see John with his 4th personal foul. That's why he's got to be out right now. And, of course, Cliff as well. Those 2 will be doing most of the shooting. The Tom Crean's crew.
Brian Baroni in there to run the point. Took a while to get it in, about 4 seconds. Here's Reeves. Lawson almost bumped it away from him. Cedric Smith, tough pass to the baseline. Won't go on the back door. And Cliff, after the miss by B.B. Walden, leaves it for Baroni.
Marquette loves to play half-court offense against half-court man-to-man defense. That is where they are the most proficient.
Here's Baroni. Double high pick there. And a bounce pass angled underneath. Wardle, left-hander. He's finding impossible ways to score. 28 for Brian Wardle and a 1-point game.
Not a single-dimensional scorer at all. Shoots it, drives it, pulls up with it.
Now who's going to step up for USF? A relatively young team that only has 1 senior, Scott Johnson. The dump down. Clausen knocked it away. Bulls got it back over the baseline. Who gets it? John Clockerty says the home team.
Hands everywhere for Marquette. Check this pick out right here. Wardle gets a screen. Fade screen. Cuts to the basket. Let's see what happens. Wide open. And a nifty, nifty lefty move. The guy has versatility.
Seth Greenberg using his 4th timeout now with 5:07 remaining in a 56-55 game. Well, NCAA basketball, we've got a triple header on the menu for you. On Saturday, my Mountain West buddy Jimmy Dykes is going to go check out those Temple Owls with Dave Sims in our first game at 2 Eastern on Saturday. And then after some other stuff in the afternoon, the Irish and the Hurricanes at 7, the Tigers and the 20th ranked Sooners at 9 o'clock Eastern. And for more on college basketball as we approach championship week, log on to ESPN.com. Brian Wardle, 28 points on the night tonight. He had all 17 for Marquette in the first half against DePaul the other day. And John Farina, Marquette's fine sports information director, did some checking around with the NCAA. Nice make by B.B. Walden. 17 for him. As far as they know, it's the only time a player has ever scored all of his team's points in one half at the Division I level. Marquette unable to pull the trigger when they're down late. We'll see if they can get their first one of the year. They have lost so many close games. From the right side, that's a three-shot foul. Wardle fouled by Altron Jackson, and he will go to the line and shoot three.
Notice how all of the Marquette players ran over to pick Wardle up. Team cohesiveness. A 13-10 record. They're still looking to keep playing. They've got games left in this season. He shoots the three, and of course it's a miss. But let's see if we catch it. All of the other four guys over there to pick him up. They knew who's carrying the load right now.
29 for Brian Wardle. 10 of 19 for the field. 6 out of 10 3-pointers. And, oh yeah, 3 rebounds to go with it.
Strong, too, isn't he?
He is. One more point to equal his season high. He had 31 against North Carolina Charlotte. And that night, Tom's sniper hit 5 out of 5 from three-point range. How about this? 58 apiece at the 4:31 mark.
Seth's got to take a look at a few more of those notes that he's got in his left hand there. If he's going to need something down the stretch. They are struggling at the offensive end the last 4 minutes.
First time we've been tied since 7 minutes into the game. That's going back the other way as B.B. Walden fouls out on a charge taken by Clausen. Wow.
The problem with leaving a guy in that long, no room right here in the end. Clausen's stronger and gets his body in front of Walden very, very nicely. Tom Crean talks about establishing defense and rebounding first. And you see evidence of it right there.
B.B. Walden fouls out with 16 points, 1 board, 1 assist. He only had 2 fouls at the half. Well, the home team needs to stop here, or else they're behind.
Walden has fouled out of a lot of games.
All kind of attention on the perimeter for Brian Wardle. Here comes Baroni running to the ball to get it from Diggs.
Back to the 1-3-1, right? Not in man-to-man any longer.
Shot clock at 12. Wardle in the corner. Can he give him the lead? No, the ball never got ironed. And a travel after the offensive rebound by John Harris. Now we've got the under 4-minute timeout. We've got a lot of basketball left. Seth Greenberg led Tom Crean by 16. They are dead even now in the final 4 minutes.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Courtyard by Marriott, the hotel designed by business travelers.
The Sun Dome in Tampa, a rather quiet, worried place at the moment after the excitement of the first half when they came out roaring. Their previous best start 18 years ago when they were 9-0. This is a program that's been around since the school opened in 1956. They've only been to 2 NCAAs in 90 and 92. First-round losses both times to Arizona and Georgetown. With a little Bulls flavor, of course, SportsCenter is next after Conference USA action. Earlier tonight on ESPN, Purdue surviving at Michigan 78-75. Could this be a night for the road teams? Well, the Eagles will find out.
Quite possibly. Right now, Wardell has 31 of the 58 points for Marquette. Maybe a box and one.
That's what you would do, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you guys can do all that coaching now. You got nothing to worry about.
A lot easier over here.
Here's Cone. Cedric Smith almost traveled. Got it back. Oh, shot. Can't bank it in. And a foul on the ensuing loose ball. Cedric Smith, maybe a bit of frustration.
I can't
That'll
believe
be his second.
He even got his hands on that basketball. What an athletic play. That was a turnover, and he turned it into a possible basket. And in his exuberance,
Carl Ravitch and Stuart Scott coming up next. Deadline approaching. Will Tim Duncan be out there? And a Tiger test. He will be back on the course tomorrow out of La Costa.
Duncan with a tear in his stomach muscle. Phoenix Suns beat him while he was out.
Monica missing the front end. Marquette passes up a chance to take the lead. Remember, trailing in the last 5 minutes, they're 0 for 10 this year.
They were only trailing by 3, though. Not deep behind. This team has beaten Louisville, and they have beaten DePaul.
Home. And the turnover. All pulled right in there by Aluma Namaka.
The woes for South Florida in their half-court continue, Bob. Really struggling in the half-court set. Not sharp.
High post Namaka. Cliff running off of that. Wardle's in the middle right now. It's going to be tough for him to get the ball there. So he takes it up high. Leaves it for Henry. 2:30 to go. Down to Harris. In the corner. Cliff to Henry. Wardle. Stopped by 2 Bulls. And there's somebody helping out. Cordell Henry with the 3. And Marquette leads 61-58.
Cordell Henry made a 3 against Xavier late to tie the game. Some ice water in the veins.
Won't go down as Altron Jackson rims one out. So the comeback is complete. Now can they close the deal?
Unbelievable
2 minutes to
game.
go.
Unbelievable excitement right here. Marquette really sticking to it on the road. A tough place to play. Watch Wardell. He'll be in this right corner.
Cliff straight ahead. Namaka for Wardle. Cliff hit some early threes. Stepping through the double team, and the fans thought he traveled. Here's Wardle going baseline. The fall away, and that ball was deflected. Shot clock violation. Cedric Smith got a piece of that shot by Brian Wardle, and they never got it to the iron in 35 seconds.
Terrific defense right there by South Florida. Smith doing a tremendous job defensively on Wardle. And, of course, you've got to locate him. He's got more than half their points. You've got to be cognizant of his whereabouts at all times.
Down by 3. Student section exhorting them for a basket. They led 39-31 at the half. So we've had an 11-point turnaround in the second half of play. Marquette right now on a 17-7 run.
B.B.
Walden. 10 minutes.
Walden on the bench having fouled out. Number 1 option. Altron.
Can't get a shot. Good defense by Henry. Johnson the fall away. Air ball. Reeves hustling. Artha saves it for USF. 3 on the shot clock. Won't go. And Cedric Smith had no option but to launch one. Now we're in the last minute, and Marquette leads by 3. Can the Eagles win one of these type games for the first time all year?
On the shot, South Florida must absolutely chase the ball down. Timeout for Tom Crean with 14 seconds to go. Still plenty of time both ways. The outcome in doubt.
38.6 seconds remaining. Seth Greenberg has 1 timeout remaining.
Well, if you're Tom Crean right now, you just want to run Wardle off some screens and get a possible shot for him and make sure everybody gets back.
What a big shot by Cordell Henry.
Need we say anything? Seth not happy about that one, and Cordell comes up big and hasn't done much offensively the entire game.
38.6 seconds remaining. 61-58 Marquette. Their magic number is 60.
Pretty good record when holding people under 60.
Now, it's important for us right now to reset the shot clock for you. It's sitting at 14, 38.6 seconds remaining on the game clock.
Wardle coming off a triple screen.
Henry for Wardle. Mid-range jumper. Short. Kept alive. Namaka. Underneath. No call as Clausen took some contact. It's a jump ball, and the possession arrow points to South Florida. And I think Tom Green thought his big guy, Greg Clausen, was hammered on the way up that time.
They got a clean shot. Good coaching on the sideline. Wardle was open, and they also had two people get to the offensive glass. Got what they wanted in terms of execution, but no points. Still a 3-point lead.
Seth Greenberg using his last timeout now with 26.6 seconds remaining. Well,
right
this is a game. I know who Tulane's rooting for right now. They're a half game back of South Florida in the National Division of Conference USA. Marquette trying to go over the 500 mark. With a win, they could be 7-6 in conference and 14-10 overall with a very quality road win under their belts. Now remember, in non-conference play, they really haven't been able to get over the hump that much. They have beaten Xavier. And there's Marquette.
Well, Seth Greenberg, Bob, has to decide whether he's going to shoot a 3 here or take the best available shot that he can get. Since he has no timeouts on any miss, I'm sure he has instructed his team to foul to stop the clock.
There's Cone. Altron Jackson. They're stacking two on the right side. Altron with the drive. Cone penetrates. Left-hander goes down. Nice penetration. Reggie Cone, his first two.
They've got a foul.
They had to, and Cone got it quickly.
Henry's a 77% shooter. They had to look for Cedric Smith on the 3, but they didn't get it. It wasn't available because Tom Crean's team did a good job defensively, and as a result, easy way to go to the basket. Seth's telling him foul. I'm sure he told him in the timeout, but he's telling him again, got a foul to stop the clock since you have no timeouts.
Seth just got 4 personals on that play. He has been fouled 4 times. And at the line, Cordell Henry. The best he can do is give his team a 3-point lead. It could be 2. It could stay 1 as he shoots the 1-and-1. Not even close. Tipped away. Cone had it. And it belongs to South Florida. The ball was grabbed out of bounds by John Cliff. And Marquette will call a timeout with 5.1 seconds remaining.
Making the following customers winners. If your name is called, will be contacted by Tom.
Plenty of time right now. 1-point game. 5 seconds is plenty of time to get up. Let's watch the free throw. Cordell Henry could have made it much more beneficial to his team, but he misses. And, of course, a great job right here on the tip back. But Cone hustling and trying to fake a foul, but fortunately gets to keep possession for the Bulls.
The Bulls undefeated at home this year, 11-0. If the score goes over 60, Marquette's liable to lose here, which would hold true to form. When it's 60 and under, they win. Here we go. 5.1 seconds. They've got to go 3/4 of the court to win the game.
Smith penetration.
Here comes Jackson. Smith waving people down the floor. Loose ball. Cone. No! And Marquette holds on to win it. 61-60. The Bulls in shock, losing their first home game all year.
Unbelievable. Great playing by Marquette. Stuck with it when they were deep behind. Hostile environment. Let's take a look at Altron Jackson as we see the happy face of Tom Crean. He's been in close games. He loses the handle right here and absolutely slips out of his hand, driving into some traffic. And no way Cone's going to get that shot. Way late. Happiness.
Tom Crean's
sadness.
14th ever game, or 24th ever game as a head coach.